Well, good evening. The hour being after 6:45, it's my high honor and privilege to call the August 29th, 2024 School Committee meeting to order. We are back, baby. It is the first meeting of the school year, and we're very grateful to have everyone here with us. Unfortunately, as we begin, we have to pause for a moment because we are down one student as we begin this school year. We have a motion from Ms. Denizio for unanimous consent for a moment of silence from Mr. Emmanuel Arrea, who was a student at the Boyden School who passed this summer. Loved dinosaurs, who was a pleasure to be in class and a good friend to many in his room and the entire Boyden community, the entire Walpole community, as well as we join with them and his family in offering this moment of silence in his memory. Thank you very much. Our first order of regular business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. New business. We have the opening of school. Dr. Goff, Dr. Hand, and Mr. Assistant Superintendent Frischer will provide an update. Dr. Goff, would you like to begin?
Sure. So we are excited to welcome everyone back to the 2024-2025, oh my goodness, school year. School offices officially opened on August 20th, and we had all staff. They reported back on Monday. We had a wonderful all-staff opening and the Walpole High School auditorium. So thank you, Mr. Buckley, for giving some remarks from the school committee. And that was followed by individual building work, which also continued this past Tuesday. Students in grades 1 through 12 reported to school yesterday, and then on Tuesday, we're going to welcome back our pre-K and kindergarten students. I spent the majority of these last 2 days, as expected, at the new middle school. The building just still takes my breath away. It is really unbelievable. So helping out with lunches, visiting classrooms. Mike, Bill, and I have been pitching in with both arrival and dismissal to look at that, and I thought that was as smooth as could be with the construction going around. I thought it went really well. Mark Breen showed up and pitched in, which was great. I have to thank the Walpole Police Department. They were a huge help as well. I also want to commend our food service team led by Maria Hall, because within the window of the time they had, they were able to get that kitchen in working order, and it is a huge kitchen to serve lunches to everybody in the district, and then also to our middle school students. Principal Ruggiero and her team worked round the clock this summer to have such a successful opening yesterday, and you'll hear more from her and the rest of the principals at the next school committee meeting. They're going to give their opening of schools report, but really absolutely fantastic. The students were so excited, the staff so excited. I think our veteran staff kept saying they had to pinch themselves to believe that it was real, and just a really amazing place. In my newsletter, I did include the link to the start and end times, the school year calendar, and a link to the bus routes. And in your packet, you have an updated staff personnel sheet, and then also the college acceptance list. This week, we had, I believe, 26 new staff, Walpole Public School staff, who participated in their week-long orientation, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hahn to talk about our new educators and orientation week.
We did. We had 26 participate in new staff orientation, but we had 27 new staff just added this week.
Okay.
So, the new staff orientation was held from August 19th to the 22nd. I think it was a really engaging and informative introduction for our new staff members. The week began on Monday with an early morning arrival where staff were greeted with refreshments and given Chromebooks and other technology resources. The official welcome was led by Dr. Goff, who set a positive tone, I think, for the entire week. And this was followed by the welcomed icebreaker activity to help new colleagues get to know each other. Always mixed reviews on the icebreakers, but they go with it anyway. Throughout the 4 days, our new staff participated in comprehensive technology orientation, and many training sessions that included multi-tiered systems of support, multilingual learner education, ALICE training, cultural proficiency professional development, and the Massachusetts Aggression Reduction Center's training that is rooted in preventing bullying and cyberbullying across all schools. The orientation wrapped up on Thursday when new staff were introduced to the leaders of the Walpole Teachers Association. And finally, the week concluded with a celebratory lunch that included many stakeholders from across the district, including 2 school committee members. Thank you, Mr. Buckley and Ms. Galvin, for joining us for that lunch. I've mentioned several times, and I want to mention again tonight, that working with new staff and running our orientation program is absolutely one of the best parts of my job. It is an awesome way to start the school year and a nice reminder of the incredible staff we have in Walpole who present throughout the week to all of our new staff. We have over 10 different presenters that come throughout the week. But most importantly, I get a glimpse of our new staff who have already demonstrated their enthusiasm, their willingness to collaborate, and their commitment to our students. They are a really great group, and I'm excited about the way that they'll have a positive impact on our district. So it was a great week, and I'm excited for these 27, soon to be 28 new staff members.
Great, thank you. And I'm going to also turn it over to Mike, who will talk about any building improvements and projects that happened over the summer.
So we had projects taking place throughout the district this summer, in addition to our brand-new middle school. And I'm passing around a form that has some information on, starting with our district-wide projects. So I'm sure, as the school committee knows, we received some capital funding, about $100,000 for access control. We also had a $145,000 grant that we received from the state. And the access control project went on starting in the spring all the way through to a few weeks ago when we finalized the installation of that, which is fully up and operational. Eventually, it will mesh with the new middle school so that our IDs will work in all buildings. But we are pretty much right there. It's just fine tuning a few loose ends on that. But very happy. I hear the staff are very pleased with the ability to get into the buildings when they need to, not worrying about keys and or leaving doors unlocked. So I feel like our buildings are much better secured at this point due to the access control. Secondarily, we did some weatherization work through the Green Communities grant that the town was able to write a grant for. Kathy Stanley's our energy manager, and we received $200,000 of Green Communities funding, which we used to better insulate in many ways all of our school buildings, and now they're moving on to the town buildings. But all of our buildings are ready, and why that's important is because that's a precursor to adding HVAC into the buildings. The new heat pumps are so efficient, you need to have a well-insulated building to really take advantage of that. So that was a really nice step in the right direction towards having HVAC in all of our buildings, meaning air conditioning in this case. So that was complete. Production, we are moving our production facility since Tech has now vacated the Plimpton building. We now have it back, which we've been looking forward to. There is one remaining operation in that building. That's our production area, with print production. So we're building out a new space at the old town hall. Little by little, the school department is getting there into the old town hall because it's available space and we're willing to renovate it. So that is taking place right now. That should be moved out, freeing up the entire building to become a technology and innovation hub to supplement the high school. So that's exciting work going on there. We've done projector replacements in many of our schools. Tom Reeve, our Director of Technology, has gone around, assessed what the most needy projectors are in all of our buildings, and kind of spread out the money that he had remaining to do some of that work. So we've upgraded a lot of the projectors in our buildings. And then through E-rate funding, we changed out the wireless access points in both Fisher and Old Post Road. So we're on a replacement cycle. Every few years we replace those wireless devices that are obviously imperative to the business of education these days, because that's how the Chromebooks access the networks. So that work was done with a 40% reimbursement from E-rate. And then I've listed each school just to kind of summarize on a high level. We had a lot of roof repairs going on, some replacements. You know, at the high school, the damage from that storm, we had a full replacement done of that. roof portion that blew off, so that is all done. The damage done internally to the building has been fixed as well. So we were happy to have that back in place. A lot of tile work, a lot of painting, just some of the things that traditionally go on within our schools over the summer when we have the buildings available. The DPW, the Parks and Highways groups, both have really been instrumental in getting this work done. And you can see, just as you go down the list, the different types of work that was done. Elm Street, I would highlight, Elm Street is really trying to maximize every bit of space that they have, but they are really pushing the envelope of capacity in that building in particular. Jen Buller, the principal in that building, has done an amazing job of kind of shifting things around, freeing up space and better accommodating the needs of the students in that building. So Elm Street, though, keep that in the back of your mind as we move forward, that they are really pressed for space. We're doing some solar installs over the summer at Fisher, Old Post Road. 2 rooftop arrays are in production right now. I'm hoping that within, let's say, 3 to 4 weeks, we get these projects finalized. They've run into a few delays, but hoping that that will be complete, and that will help offset the additional cost of electricity as that rises. So that was Fisher and Old Post Road. We've had some air conditioning units replaced that have gotten older. The Johnson Middle School, formerly known, was a major project this summer as we vacated that building and moved to the new middle school. We had to do a lot of prep work for the renters coming in, so we left our custodians behind for a week. They did a lot of work to help set the stage and help those 2 groups, BICO and the Tech Collaborative, move in to those spaces. So they are both partially, if not fully, in that building now with their programming. And we are looking forward to putting a solar canopy above that parking lot so we don't have to shovel snow off of vans anymore, which will be a very welcome addition. And let's see, building work, site work, the middle school, as many of you know, going through that building, it is a work in progress. Fortunately, I would characterize it as most of the work inside is really getting there. Outside is, a lot of site work going on as they finalize that work. But the goal was to get the students in the building and have a fully operational building, and I think we're just about there. So that was really a great relief on a lot of us. And then the high school, we did some HVAC work on the 3rd floor of the high school. Probably the most difficult place to teach and learn is the 3rd floor of the old wing of that building. So there is air conditioning on that floor. The funding is in place to do the 2 floors below. We just ran out of time. Takes a lot of time to get that done, but it's coming and it's funded. And then Plimpton is what we look forward to as our next frontier. If we are fortunate enough to have the high school funding approved at town meeting, we'll look to do that as well as Plimpton. So that's kind of a high-level view of a lot of the work that goes on in the summers in our buildings. Kudos again to the DPW and our custodians and our administrators who really did amazing work.
So it was, as you can see, it was a very busy but productive summer. Just a couple more things in terms of hiring. So today we hired the last position. All positions have been filled. I'd have to say probably most of our positions were filled by the end of July. People want to come and work in Walpole. And we're happy to have them, and like Dr. Hunt said, it is a great staff, so I'm really excited about that. I'll get you enrollments. I usually do that at the next meeting. Mary, believe it or not, is still working on registrations. People are still coming in, so once we kind of even that out, then we're able to get you those numbers. And then finally, Dr. Goff, myself, and Dr. Hunt, we're going to do a walk with the supers on Friday, September 22nd, okay? And that's the early release day from 8:30 to 9:45 at the Walpole High School track, just designed to promote community engagement and wellness. I don't know, wellness, we've been walking around that middle school. I think we clocked like 6 miles yesterday, but still some more wellness, but more of a community engagement. So people are welcome to come.
What day is it?
It's going to be it's the Friday, the early release day. Is that the 20th? Or is that the
20th? Okay.
It's the 20th. It's the 20th. It's Friday the 20th, 8:30 to 9:45 at the high school track. And that's it.
Excellent. Questions or comments for the superintendents?
I've got 2. First of all, I think it's super important for us to show our appreciation to the Walpole community for the middle school. It's just a huge, huge accomplishment. And while everybody's chomping at the bit, we're all getting asked, when can I get in? When can I see this? And we love the excitement. The goal was to get the kids in by the week of August 25th. We're planning a ribbon cutting, even though the doors have been opened already, because we don't have parking yet. We don't have the plantings all done. And this is normal. This is the way it works. Like, the kids are in there, the parents, or the teachers are in there, the kids are in there. The parents of middle school kids will probably, in my guess, get the first invite to come in when it's time for open house. But we're really appreciative of the support that we got from the community. And we're going to do a really good job, probably, again, I'm just guessing, probably in October, to do a ribbon cutting and show appreciation to the community. So it's not like we're saying, oh, that doesn't matter. It matters a lot to show that level of appreciation. But it's also a huge accomplishment to have gotten it open on time. There's, Stonham's in the newspaper right now they just didn't meet their deadlines. And, so to be on time, to be on budget, and on the schedule that we want, we're just asking the community to be patient a little bit longer. But we really, really, really appreciate the support that we got from the community. So that was one important thing.
Can you pause one sec?
yeah.
On that, we've been sending out a lot of pictures so that parents can see, the decals and the different things that we worked so hard on to make the building really our building. So if you haven't seen them, there's a lot of photos and a lot of us have toured the site. I know Adrian posted some the other day. I've posted some also, so you can see different spaces like the auditorium and stuff. So at least that should tide you over till the actual ribbon cutting.
Good. And where would they find them?
So they're on a lot of our school committee
Social media pages.
social media
and
pages.
They had the YouTube.
The Walpole Media did, I think, a
Yep.
5-minute walkthrough that's
Yep.
been great.
I think I have that on my page too, so.
Second question, Mrs. Galvin.
Is yours related to that? No. Or no? So my other one is just, can we get a sense of how much money we have to support the replacement of the HVAC systems? Because it came up at capital budget the other night that we had asked for money to eventually be able to do the elementary schools. And a comment was made, well, there is some money for that, and that's why we didn't get more. I think, maybe we need to have Patrick Shield or Jim Johnson come to a meeting, or maybe you guys can get it for us. But what do we have and what do we still need? Because we know that in the long run, we're hoping to replace the HVAC systems so that, before they get to emergency stage, we have planned properly, but also because in the really hot weather, it's challenging to work without AC. So, just for the future. Thank you.
Ms. Denizio.
First, a comment, it might not compare in a lot of people's minds to opening a brand-new building, but hiring almost all of your positions by July is perhaps an equally admirable accomplishment. That's unheard of, really, in most districts.
Yeah.
So I think it's a job well done to you all, not only for, managing human resources on top of everything else you do, because we don't have a director of human resources, it's you guys. And also just kind of creating and sustaining a climate where staff want to stay, want to come, want to be here for their career. So I think it's a hugely telling fact or data point for how strong our district is. Mike, I have a question for you, through you, Bill, about the Plimpton renovations. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that fall phase, what they're starting out with and what the goal is for that?
So, how do I characterize it? It's an older building that has had a lot of cosmetic face. What you see when you walk in looks okay. The problem that I think we have at Plimpton is behind the walls, the electrical, the capacity coming in that building to add HVAC, to add all the technology we're talking about, all the innovations we're thinking of. There's a study that needs to be done about bringing in that power. It's pretty comprehensive, and that's in play. It's been in play for a long time. But that's a precursor to doing any kind of electrical additions or technology additions. The bathrooms in the building are very old. They need to be renovated on the ground floor, so we looked at those. Steve Embush, Dave Wood, and I walked through just to kind of get an initial refresh our memory. Carpets need to be replaced. Some plaster work needs to be done. I think we're gonna remove some walls that were put up when Tech was there to open it up into a nicer open space. So it's those kinds of things. Windows, the roof, those kinds of things are fine. It's now insulated like all the other buildings. In some ways, it's ready to go, but we do need to do some additional work. I think Stephen is thinking about what he would move over there first, if anything. Like, do we want to keep the building open so that we can just get in whenever and do the work? But I think he's really chomping at the bit to get in and add a few programs over there. So that's kind of where we are. Donnie Anderson's well aware of it. We have money set aside, to Nancy's question about the HVAC. We have money set aside for HVAC specific to the Plimpton, enough to do the whole building. But again, we need to bring in the electric to allow that to happen. So it's kind of an overarching view. It just needs sprucing up. It needs to feel like, not like the middle school, obviously brand new building, all the, the glitz of a new building, but more updated and purposeful in what we put in there, that it feels like you're in a tech and innovation center, not an older building.
Is Mr. Embush planning on moving anything over there during the current school year, or would this be for next? Is he hoping to, I'll say,
I think
do
he's
that this
hoping
year?
to get some in there. I just don't know how realistic it is. Like, we literally just went over at the beginning of this week and kind of looked around. We're starting to put our thoughts together about it. He wants to meet with his department chairs and say, okay, if we were to put you over there, what would you need? Does it work? What about your space now? Because this ties into the high school project, because if you can move people over there, that becomes their new home, and now that frees up their space in the high school to do what we want to do there. So it's all kind of tied together, and we're just starting to get those thoughts together about that.
Thank you.
There are questions or comments? I know Plimpton's 111 years old, and it's been an elementary school. It was a high school annex during the last renovation. It's got some beautiful elements to it that we painted over the last time we fixed it up. But I know this body isn't undergoing our sort of road trip of examining the schools at the opening, and Plimpton is next on the list. So it's been versatile. It's been a workhorse for many years, but just keep us updated there. And I think, why do I just want to thank everybody for all this work while we're all at the beach. You guys are really cranking away, and there's I think not only with all this capital work, but also a lot of the professional development that our teachers do over the summer. Everybody kind of comes back after a few months of break, having done a lot in the interim, so that's great. I'll also point out, I see the 300th decal got on a bunch of our school parking lots, so we thank the DPW for that and all the other building maintenance work they assisted with. Flowing into capital update, I think we touched on a little bit of it, but I believe that's Assistant Superintendent Fisher as well.
So in your packet is a five-year plan for capital. I'll focus on this year. So the high school addition renovation project, we were asked to put that on the capital list. It is not funded in large part by any stretch by capital, but it is a capital investment in the town, meaning a major investment of over 5 years in length. So we did add that on. That $36,163,000 is a ballpark figure of what the project would cost. At the time that I put this together, it was our best estimate. It's backed up and supported by, I don't think it's not in your packet, but the town administrator put together a funding expenses and then the offsetting revenue. And I think, Kristen, you had added that to a lot of the information that you're providing. So that information is out there. That's where that figure came from. And we did present, we met with the Capital Committee on Tuesday, and we presented these 4 items in their entirety. The second item is the 2 modular classroom request for the Boyden Elementary School. We are exceeding our capacity as our enrollments indicate next school year. So we are planning for what it would take to accommodate that additional space within the Boyden School. We are looking at 2 modular classrooms as to differentiate them. They are not portables, they're not on trailers, they are on foundations. They are fabricated in a factory, so there's much tighter controls over that building process, and then they are delivered in part to the site, where they are then lifted and raised onto a foundation. So these are different than the modulars or the portables that were really portables at Old Post Road. This is a much more robust. They have a 25, 30-year lifespan, if not more, and they can be maintained like any other building in our town. They will accommodate 2 classrooms worth of general ed students. We went for a tour today before this meeting to talk about where they might go, some good options to consider for where we're placing that. The town administrator has recommended $950,000 toward this $1 million request. And we are, again, this is very fluid. We're at the initial stages of the design, but these modulars, as designed on a timeline, would be in place by next July, which would give us more than enough time to really do this the right way and make our choices about what things we would like to be part of our modulars. So those are the modulars at Boyden Elementary School. Third item was HVAC install at the First Elementary School. We have we're working on solving the HVAC at the high school. That's all part of the renovation addition. Hopefully we get the funding for that. The middle school, obviously brand new. Elm Street Elementary has HVAC throughout, so we are left with 3 buildings currently that do not have HVAC in addition to Plimpton. That we do not have funding for. The request was for $500,000. It was not recommended by the town administrator and not recommended or supported by the capital committee at this point. But it is a priority for us, and we are looking to continue to roll out HVAC in those buildings as well. And then the final item was a playground padding replacement at Boyden Elementary. We have a playground that's 12, 13 years old, somewhere in that window, that has padding. It is the only playground in our district that has padding. The rest of them have like a mulch that you put under the playground to protect students who may fall. The padding is much more preferred. The padding on this playground, again, is 12, 13 years old. It's beyond its useful life. It needs to be replaced. Unfortunately, they're very expensive. So the request is for $75,000, and unfortunately, that was not supported by the town administrator or the capital committee. So we are looking at how to move forward with that, because obviously that's a safety concern that we're concerned about. So that is still in play and up for discussion. And those are the items, the 4 items that we approached capital committee with for capital this year. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. I do want to point out, at the meeting earlier this week, we talked about how you're using an inventive way to go through group purchasing to purchase those 2 modulars, which are allowing us to, if it's approved, have the entire project be done in about an 8 to 10 month turnaround, which allows them to be ready to go for the beginning of school next year. Excellent. Other questions or comments for Mr. Fisher? Ms. Denizio?
Can you just summarize for folks who might be listening but did not listen to the capital budget discussion, what was the rationale for not supporting the HVAC addition?
It was not recommended by the town administrator. I think a lot of the funding that was earmarked for the school department went toward the modulars, which is a large request, but a very necessary one. And I think that if you looked at it from a funding perspective, I guess this is the funding that the town administrator and capital committee were willing to allocate to the items that we have. I don't know how else to say it. But that won't stop us. We do have $75,000 for the elementary schools to do a study of the HVAC, so I can get us right to the threshold. The weatherization's done. It's just getting the equipment. That's the last piece that we need to take care of.
Mrs. Gallion?
That's the part that I would want to understand better, because when it came up, there was a comment made that there already is some money for this request. And I don't know whether it's just the study, or is there some money? So I think it would be good to know from, because I believe the way it was presented, if I were a capital budget committee member, I would think, oh, you've got some of that 500,000. So I just want to understand it so we can explain it a little bit better going forward. Because that's the way I heard it, was that there is some money already. It's just not 500,000 yet.
I could clarify that in its simplest way, is that there was $75,000 allocated through a prior capital request to do a study for HVAC at the elementary level. That 75 is still there, but it's not enough. The way that we do work with our vendors is they propose this information. I don't need to necessarily do a separate study, like Plimpton needs additional electrical capacity coming in the building. That's not the issue with this. So I really just need to get the funding to do the HVAC install. 75 is not enough to really do much. I would need more funding. I hope that clarifies for you.
It does. Thank you.
And to that point, I think, earlier in this process, we did get a couple of state earmarks for the high school. I know we did the wood shop HVAC for that, so there's multiple pots of money over multiple years now. So I think it might be good to have not only the discussion about what we're doing going forward, but like how everything came to be, because it's kind of a patchwork situation where we took care of, I think you may have done the cafeteria with revolving fund amounts, so that's how the cafeteria got done, and then it was an earmark for the wood shop, and then we got some funding this summer, which we did. I think that might have been state earmarks too for the third floor.
350,000 in state earmark funds
Yeah, so-
that we allocate to the high school.
So that's, I think, it as we tell a story, it's like an even larger and longer story. So it's just good to know that even though we might not have all the money right now, we're taking bites out of it, and we sort of committed to this process. And since we have done that, we've found ways to advocate and to start to kind of chip away at it. So that would be helpful for everybody. Anything further, Mrs. Gallivan?
Yeah, I would like to see it on one piece of paper.
Yeah, exactly, where everything-
Because the danger is, if we get some money, let's say from the state budget, then, maybe we don't need the money that we secured locally. So I think it's on us to know exactly, what we have in the local pot. Because as we do advocate for the state, it's not to supplant, it's to.
To add, to
It's
complete.
to add to
Yeah.
the total. And, I think it's just on us to understand that a little bit better.
And I think it would be good for the community to understand the timeline that we're hoping for also, right? Like, we know this is a big concern of our staff, we know this is a big concern for our families, right? The conditions that they're working in and learning in, for all students and staff, for students and staff that maybe have health concerns, right? So, I think it would be good to be able to be more concrete in the way that we talk to the community about how we're
Right.
making progress.
Anything further on that? Excellent. Moving on to our next order of new business. Subcommittee assignments, if everyone could examine and just get back to us if you want to stay where you are. Unfortunately, Rogers remains on warrants, being the low person. I know you love it.
I
But
was on it for about 12 years, okay?
I feel like I got a long road ahead.
It happens to the
it's
best
going to be
of
a
us.
while.
All good. All good. I got it down.
That's good stuff.
It's so much fun.
It is, it's good.
At least you get to do it electronically now.
Yeah, that's true.
We just have to sit up there and go
Oh,
through
Not that it's not a pleasure to sit.
It's great, yeah.
To hang out with Mortally's office.
At any rate, so if folks could take a look at this, just get back to me if you want to move around, if there's something you no longer wish to be on, something you may wish to be on that you aren't on now, and we'll vote this next meeting. Is subcommittee assignments, old business, middle school building project update. Unfortunately, Chairman Breen's not here to say on time and on budget, but it's open. 2 days under our belts. Is there anything, there's nothing further, right? on that?
No, the principals will be here
Next meeting.
I mean,
Excellent.
I don't want to steal too much of their thunder.
Very good. High school project update. Dr. Goff, you want to start, then we go to Kristen? and-
No, we're just, we met maybe a couple times over the summer. I know Kristen has created a wonderful FAQ, that she's working on that I read through. It is so comprehensive and very well done, and I think, we were able to comment on it, and, yeah, really well done.
Well, there's a lot of information that we've had over time, so it
yeah.
was, just wanted to aggregate into one spot, and since, when we get to a point we're all good with it, I think that can serve as the basis for the PowerPoint. I think it's easier to go big and agree with all the messaging, and then we can parse it out for, a PowerPoint when we do the webinar for the community, which we probably need to set a date for soon. Any other messaging that we want to do, at least we have one place. And then once we're all good with that, we'll also get it posted on the website.
And I do know that on September 12th, that the high school will be discussed, the project with Finance Committee and Capital Committee, with Tappy and Vertex presenting. So I think it's important that, from us, admin will be there, Stephen and Bush will be there. School committee, obviously welcome to attend, to answer questions. And because of that, since that is at 7 and it conflicts with our school committee meeting, I think we agreed to meet at 5
Yeah, we're looking at
o'clock.
probably 5 o'clock that day to do opening the school, which gets principals home earlier and allows us to all be present if we want to at that joint meeting. Mrs. Gallivan.
Two things. Are we sure the capital budget starts at 7? Because this week they started at 6.
I had that in my memo.
But you know that it's
Yeah,
7.
we've checked
Okay,
that.
that's good. The other thing is, I would like to at least propose that we do the information for the high school in person, as opposed to, over Zoom. I don't know what people are thinking about that, but I think that first of all, I think we should record it so that, anybody can see it going forward. But I think one of the positives is if we reach out to concerned parents, they tend to want to show up. Not a lot of times, but the last time we did something like that is now over 3 years ago, when we needed people to come and support us for the middle school that just opened. I think it's good for school committees to stay connected with people, because sometimes you just find out about people who they didn't know who we are. So I think that doing it in person has a value. I just don't know what people were thinking about how we were planning on doing it. I know that everybody's busy, and whatever night we pick is going to be not a good night for this group or that group. So we definitely should record it and make it available. But I also think that face-to-face is a good way of inviting people in to be more supportive of our schools.
Ms. Geltitz.
Yeah, I love that idea, but I would say that I've gotten a lot of opposite feedback, and I feel like I've been able to be more fully involved when there's a Zoom option as well.
Yep.
So like, for instance, some of the PAC meetings,
Sure.
I don't have time, or I've dropped a kid off and just can run in and catch 15 minutes when it's available on Zoom. So to the extent we could get an option where we're in person, whoever wants to attend in person, great, but we have the technological capacity to figure Zoom out so people can watch and ask questions that night. I think that's kind of the ideal, because it fits
I do
in
too.
better
Yep.
with people's schedules, and then to record it additionally. So as many ways as you can reach people, but so many people are used to Zoom meetings at this point that I think take advantage of it to reach as many people.
Yeah.
Other thoughts? Yeah. Obviously, if we do it in person, we should probably do it at the high school, and see if we can't
It's a little harder to broadcast.
broadcast.
Not impossible.
It's just, I just wanted to bring it up to sort of see,
Yeah.
No, I think it's a good
what's
point.
workable.
For sure.
And yeah, that would be ideal, but maybe if not, we have a little 3-minute video from the high school of, snippets of sections and what. But I just wanted to bring it up before we got too far into the planning.
And like with the middle school, Walpole Community Media has been really good at getting those type of publicized meetings up very quickly, so folks who, if you missed it or what have you, can watch it at home.
Is the middle school auditorium an option? Could be a two,
That's
feed
what I was
feed
thinking
two
too.
birds kind of a situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the date?
We don't have
We
one.
don't have one.
Okay, because we're in touch with Walpole Cable about their cameras and all that stuff that's getting set up as well, if that would be utilized.
Okay.
Well, they already have meetings there,
Yes,
so.
I've heard that.
They haven't gone up yet with the auditorium cameras.
Okay.
Well, maybe the auditorium isn't the right spot, but my thought was if you have it streaming on the Walpole Media channel, and people who want to come in person can come to the middle school, then that's kind of a enticing.
Anything further? So we'll stay tuned. We got a lot of moving pieces, but the next, I think, publicly informative meeting will be on the 12th, I believe, in this room at 7 PM. Most of us will be there. Moving on in our agenda, subcommittee activity. Do you have anything since last meeting? Seeing nothing else, then we can go to citizens' comments. Seeing no citizens, we will move on to approval of warrants, budget transfers, donations, and minutes. Would someone like to take the warrants?
I will take the warrants.
Excellent.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the following warrants. We have payroll warrant 2453 PS. I'm going to go through all the payroll warrants. 2501 PS, 2503 PS, 2505 PS, and 2507 PS for the amounts listed in your packets.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Rogers, second by Ms. Sarek. All those in favor? Opposed, abstained, 600.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the following accounts payable warrants for schools, 225004, which also includes the special ed, for the amounts listed in your packets.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Rogers, second by Ms. Sarek. All those in favor? Opposed, abstained, 600.
I'd also like to make a motion to approve the accounts payable warrant 225005 for schools, food service, and student activities for the amounts listed in your packets.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Rogers, second by Ms. Sarek. All those in favor? Opposed, abstained, 600.
Got a few more. It was a long summer. We have accounts payable warrants for schools and special ed, 225006, for the amounts listed in your packets.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Rogers, second by Ms. Sarek. All those in favor? Opposed, abstained, 600.
Accounts payable warrants for schools and special ed, 225007, for the amounts listed in your packets.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Rogers, second by Ms. Sarek. All those in favor? Opposed, abstained, 600.
And last but not least, the accounts payable warrants under 225008 for schools, food service, and special ed, for the amounts listed in your packets.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Rogers, second by Ms. Sarek. All those in favor? Opposed, abstained, 600. Would someone like to make the motion for the approval of budget transfers?
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer of $24,624 as listed in our packet.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Galvin, second by Ms. Denizio. All those in favor? Opposed, abstained, 600. Someone like to take the gift approval?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to approve the donation to Elm Street School from Bay State Textiles for $76.80.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Sarek, second by Ms. Rogers. All those in favor? Opposed, abstained, 600. Would someone like to make a motion for the approval of minutes?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the June 6, 2024 school committee meeting, the July 25th, 2024 school committee meeting, and the July 25th, 2024 executive session.
With the understanding that the executive session minutes will be held until the matter is resolved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Denizio, second by Ms. Rogers. All those in favor? Opposed, abstained, 600. Someone like to take us home?
Where's Mr. Breen? I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Rogers, second by Ms. Gaotitz. All those in favor? Opposed, abstained, 600. Welcome back, everyone. Have a wonderful, long weekend.
Thank you.
Yay.